So you went to Barcelona and you met workers at the plant. What did they tell you?
That's right. So we met with the workers, and what we found was a scenario where people are really worried. These are blue-collar workers, people that are not necessarily very qualified, that have been working in this plant, in this Nissan plant in Barcelona since they were 18, 20 years old. We found whole families depending on these jobs. So if these plants close, unions say 3,000 people will lose their jobs. So these are the direct employees at the plant. But then over 20,000 people work in the automotive sector, in supply companies, in companies that are part of the supply chain that supplant these Nissan plants. So we met whole families, people really worried, thinking that that they are about to be unemployed in possibly the worst moment, because there's obviously an economic crisis looming because of the coronavirus pandemic. So quite grim scenes in this Nissan plant in Barcelona.
Yeah, and you wonder how much those sad personal stories are going to be retold in other parts of Europe. Spain is Europe's second largest automaker then, Laura. What does this mean for the industry as a whole then in this country, in Spain and in Europe?
The feeling that we got from talking with the workers, with the unions, with local authorities in Barcelona is that this could be not just a one-off, so it might not be just Nissan closing, but what the sector is fearing is that this could be the first of many. And the reason why authorities and unions are thinking that is because Spain seems so far removed from this electric vehicle revolution that's taking place in the automotive industry. Spain, while some of the car plants in the country are assembling electric vehicles, Spain is not producing batteries. Spain doesn't have an electric vehicle specific industry, and its plants are old and they still need to be transformed. So what the unions and what the authorities are fearing is that car companies will just take their electric production elsewhere, somewhere where the industry is a bit more evolved and not as old.
Yeah, the move to electric vehicles seems to be creating waves. Of course, the European Union has money set aside for helping the transition, speeding the transition. Could some of that money, or indeed from the Spanish government, could some of that be helpful in speeding up the transition then to electric vehicles?
That's right. That's what the government, that's what the workers that we met, that's what everyone in Barcelona and in Spain is hoping, that this 750 billion euro package that the European Commission is hoping to approve to help the region recover from the coronavirus, that some of it will go to Spain, which has been one of the countries worst hit by the pandemic. And because the European Union has a very strong green and climate focus, they very much want this money to be spent on things that will help the region cut emissions, that will help transform the economy into something that's more green, less polluting, that helps the fight about climate change. The hope is that the electric vehicle transformation of the automotive industry will receive some of these funds. But that's still very much a hope so far. The Spanish government, on the other side, has already unveiled a 3.75 billion euro program to help the car industry. So again, Spain is the European Union's second largest automaker, and the auto industry employs thousands of people in the country. It's a very important industry. The government wants to support it, and the hope is that by deploying these funds, these aid packages, the companies will do that transformation in the country. So far, some of it seems to be working. In the past weeks, we have seen SEAT announcing a 5 billion euro investment in their plants in Barcelona to start transforming these installations to make electric vehicles. Now we'll have to see if other car makers follow through. But what's most important is will be to see if any battery makers decide to set up factories in Spain. So most of the car battery capacity in the world right now is concentrated in China. Most of the new capacity in Europe is concentrated in Germany, Eastern and Northern Europe. None of it is planned in Spain so far.
Okay.
The hope of Spanish authorities and obviously of the Nissan car workers, the car workers in Barcelona, is that some of this battery capacity will move to Southern Europe.